What's up, family? What's up? Man, come on in. Give you guys a little bit to get in here before we get started. What's up? What's up? Man, we got a lot to talk about tonight. What's up, babe? Scott, what's up with you? What's up, Scorpio lady? Man, I'm nervous. I just got nervous all of a sudden. I don't know why. Scorpio lady, I think you make me nervous. Scorpio lady, I think you need to go back to the sewing lady, or I think that was a different name you had before. Man, family, on behalf of my mother-in-law, man, may God bless each and every one of you guys, man. What's up, Ride or Die? Man, for those of you who catch this on the YouTube replay, man, may God bless you as well. Man, family, we're talking about facing giants and facing fears. You know what I mean? I saw a movie earlier, years ago, probably about 10, 11 years ago when I first saw this movie. And it's called Facing Giants. What's up? And it's a movie where this coach, he's at a Christian high school, and his football team, and they suck. They're garbage, right? Just straight garbage. And he's going through a lot. You know, his car is raggedy. The house him and his wife, what's up, Gene? Him and his wife live in. The back room has a leak. You know, the stove went out. The car's always dying on them. I mean, they're catching hell. There's something stinky in the house. Something died in the house. They can't find it. They don't know what the stench is. You know what I mean? But they know something's dead. Something has this nasty odor. And so they're catching hell from all these different areas, right? For years, they tried to get pregnant. I think for like 4 to 5 years that this couple's tried to get pregnant to no avail. What's up, Jose? And so they're catching hell on all these different angles. You know what I mean? He goes to work one day and he hears the parents and hears all these other people, faculty members, talking to one of his assistant coaches, saying, man, we need to get rid of this guy. He's garbage as a coach. All these teams are beating us. All these teams are winning and we can't get anything going on. You know what I mean? And so, man, we need to get rid of this guy as a coach because he's garbage. You know what I mean? He's garbage. I think that most games they won is like maybe 5 games in a season. You know what I mean? And that's doing good. And so he's catching hell every way he turns, right? So we're talking about facing giants, facing fears. And the truth is, man, so many of us have so many fears. You know what I mean? We don't talk about our fears, you know what I mean? Because for whatever reason, we're scared to talk about our fears. We're scared to face the obstacles and the trials that we got to go through in life. You know what I mean? And man, so we get drunk and we get distracted. We do all these other things because we don't want to deal with our real issues. We don't want to deal with our trauma and our drama and all the crap that we're dealing with, right? And so here's this guy, his best player at the beginning of the school year, his best player from the year before transfers to their rival school. Their rival school has won the state championship for the last 3 years. You know what I mean? They have almost 90 something people on their team. At his school, they got maybe 30 something people on their team at all. You know what I mean? What's up, Olivia? And so, man, he's catching hell. He's catching hell at work. He's catching hell at home. Everywhere he turns is like, man, it's straight garbage, right? And so he goes through this phase where he's like, man, God, I don't know what the heck is going on. God, my wife wants to get pregnant. We've been trying for years for my wife to get pregnant and she can't get pregnant. And if any of you have ever tried, I had a guy that used to work for me and him and his wife was trying for years to get pregnant and they couldn't get pregnant. And it messes with a guy's self-esteem. It messes with a guy's, it just messes with his manhood. You know, when he's doing everything he can to try to get his wife pregnant and he can't even get his wife pregnant. You know what I mean? That seems like such an easy thing to do. You know what I mean? You got little kids getting people pregnant. You know what I mean? And so here it is, this grown man. He can't get his wife pregnant. He's so screwed up. Man, everything is bad. But he can't even get his wife pregnant. That's how fucked up this guy is in his mind. Everything's going bad. You know what I mean? At work, they're trying to get rid of me. The coaches are second guessing me. The players are transferring. Man, I can't get my wife a decent place to stay. It's leaking in the back room. The stove don't work. The car's ragging. It don't work. She got to walk to work. You know what I mean? And so it's like they're catching hell everywhere he turns. And so it's messing up his self-esteem. You know, until he gets to the point, it's like, man, God, I'm trying to do everything I can. God, I've done everything that I thought I was supposed to do. We're talking about facing fears and facing giants today. And so, man, no matter what you go through, you got to go through it. You know what I mean? And I know there's not a person alive that doesn't have some type of fears. Stay with me. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how bad you think you are. I don't care how deep you think you are. I don't care how spiritual you think you are. Every person alive has some fears that they haven't dealt with yet. And so, man, I'm a diehard Kobe Bryant fan, right? And so I heard Kobe Bryant say, man, when he started playing basketball, he wasn't as big. He started playing in Italy. He wasn't as big as the other kids. He wasn't as strong as the other kids. He wasn't as athletic as the other kids. And that was intimidating to him at first. And so he sat there, he's like, man, I have to outsmart these kids. I have to out-hustle these kids. Because I can't compete with them physically. So I have to outsmart them. I have to out-hustle them. And so one of his fears, because his dad played professional basketball. You know what I mean? And so many of us, we won't do something because what if I fail? What if it don't turn out right? And so we're scared of it not working right. We're scared of being rejected. You know what I mean? And so Kobe's thing was like, man, he would always go up and shoot shots, you know, just shoot free throws. And he used to always say, man, you know what? When you're on the professional level and you go up and there's so many people that miss free throws. There's so many people that scared to take the last shot. Why? Because the whole world is watching you. What if you miss? If you miss, man, you know they're going to make fun of you. You know you're going to be the butt of everybody's joke. Excuse me. They're going to be clowning you and talking about you and all this other crazy stuff. But what if you make it? But that fear of what if you miss it? And so he said, man, he had to learn how to break down that fear, how to face that fear. If you know anything about Kobe Bryant, he was never scared to take a shot. You know what I mean? Once he got in the league, and many people said he was a ball hog. He was a glory. He was always wanting to shoot the ball. But it took him time to get to that point. You know what I mean? He didn't come into the league like that. You know what I mean? It took him time to get to that point to where he could say, man, I'm not scared to take the last shot anymore. I'm not afraid to miss anymore. I'm going to make a lot more than I miss. But if I miss it, what's the worst thing that can happen? And he said he had to learn to break down why he was scared of missing those shots. And that's what the great majority of us have to do. Why are you so scared to start that business? What's the worst that can happen to you? Oh, your family's going to laugh at you? They're laughing at your ass anyways. What, they're going to say you're a failure? They saying that probably anyways. And it's true because women, I'm going to share some. Most guys are intimidated to walk up to a beautiful woman and talk to her. Unless he's had something to drink. Unless he's got something in his system where he could face that courage. You know, he has the courage to do that. Most guys are intimidated to walk up to a beautiful woman that they don't know and just start trying to talk to her. Most guys are terrified of that because they're scared of being rejected. Because they're afraid of being rejected. And that's why it's easier for guys to go up to women when they've been drinking or when they have like all their friends around them. And it's like, okay, man, and they're hyping them up. And he's drinking, throwing back beers or shots or whatever he's doing, smoking or whatever, to relax him. So that he can have the courage to go up and talk to that beautiful woman. Because he's terrified of being rejected. Whatever your fears are, You have to break it down. Why do you have that fear? And what Kobe said was, man, understand that your fears are keeping you away from something. Stay with me. Your fears are keeping you away from something. And so Kobe's mentality is, man, I'm not allowing anything to control me like that. I'm not going to allow my fears to stop me from reaching my full potential. I'm not going to allow my dream or my fears to stop me from playing basketball or taking these shots or to be as great as I can be. Because that's all your fears do, is stop you from reaching your full potential. That's all they do. And so there's a thing that Kobe used to say all the time. He says, whether you win or fail, you're still going to be loved. I'm going to say it again. Whether you win or fail, you're still going to be loved. And what Kobe was saying is like, man, so many times in the beginning, he wouldn't take those shots. He was scared and he had to understand, man, I'm going to be rejected. I'm going to be seen as not good enough. And so his father had to come tell him, man, Kobe, whether you win or lose, me and your mom are still going to love you. Whether you win or lose, we're still going to be proud of you. And once he got that comfort, once he got that security, man, it was all good after that. He wasn't terrified of shooting the ball anymore. He wasn't terrified of going to the rim. He wasn't terrified of taking the last shot or any of that stuff. What is it that makes you terrified? And what is it you're terrified of first and foremost? It's something that you probably need to do is write down, what is it that makes you scared? What is it that has you so fearful? And so this coach and this team, facing giants, he was terrified that he wasn't good enough. Because everything that he was touching, man, it was falling to hell. It was falling apart. His team was crappy. The players were garbage. Their mentalities was garbage. His car was raggedy. His house was raggedy. What's up, Bree? Everything that he touched was bad. You know what I mean? And so he couldn't even make his wife pregnant. And so he felt incompetent. He felt like he wasn't good enough. He felt like he wasn't the man. And that was terrifying to him. And so one day he's out in the woods and he's talking. He has his Bible with him and he's praying, talking to God and all this other stuff. And he gets this piece of, man, you have to change your perspective. You have to change your perspective. Your players are the way they are, and your coaches are the way they are because you're the coach, because you're the way you are. Your players are playing substandard because your coaching is substandard. It's easy for you to blame the players and to blame the other coaches. What about blaming yourself? What about addressing your own issues? What about addressing the fact that you feel incompetent? What about addressing the fact that, man, you don't feel like you're really qualified? Because after all, look at these kids. They're not doing good. They're barely passing classes. They're garbage players. They're garbage young adults. And it all stems from his leadership or lack thereof. Because he didn't think that he was good enough. And so he changed his mentality. And he came back and he started challenging the young people. He started leading by example and started challenging his coaches. And one of the most popular scenes in the movie is where he pulls the strongest guy, the most athletic guy in the team, who's a leader by birth. You know what I mean? He's a natural born leader. And so he understood, man, if I could get this guy, everybody else is going to follow suit. He's the strongest guy. I have to get him. And so he calls him out in front of the whole team. They're on the football field. He blindfolds them. He says, you're strong. Let's see how strong you are. I want you to crab. And that's where you get down on your hands and your tiptoes. And you're just moving forward on your hands and your tiptoes. You know what I mean? But you're bent down, squatted down like close to the ground. Your knees can't touch the ground though. But the thing is, he pulled this other kid, 160-pound kid up, lay on his back. And so what you do in football, you lay on the guy's back, you grab a hold of his shoulder pads, and you got your feet up in the air, and he's crawling across the field without his knees touching the ground. So he's just using his arms and his legs. And so the coach tells him, he tells the coach, yeah, I could probably go 30 yards max, because they're going maybe 10 yards. And coach is like, no, you got to give me more. You got to give me more. So the guy's like, okay, I could give you maybe 30 yards. And he's like, you think you can go to the 50-yard line? He's like, I don't know. He said, okay, well, we're going to blindfold you. And he's like, why? He says, because I don't want you to give up just because you get to a certain spot. I don't want you to get distracted. And so he gets down, he's blindfolded, guy's on his back, and he starts doing it. And the coach is on the ground with him, cheering him on, egging him on, challenging him, pushing him, challenging him to go further, give him more. And the guy gets to the 50-yard line, and he doesn't even know he's at the 50-yard line now because he got the blindfold on. He would have quit because the challenge was just to get to the 30, maybe to the 50. And most of us would have got to that point and would have gave up. I did all that I could do. The last 10 yards, I would have been struggling and would have gave up. And so the team is standing up and they're cheering him on. They're in amaze looking at this guy. And the guy's still going and he's crying and he's struggling and he's ready to give up. But the coach is down on the ground cheering him, give me 10 more, give me some more, dig deep. And the coach is in his ear, pushing him to push past his fear, push past that quit mentality. I don't care how much it hurts. I don't care how uncomfortable it is. Give me some more. You're almost there. You're almost there. And the guy's like struggling. He's barely able to move, but he's still moving. And the coach is down on the ground cheering him on. And the players are standing there just in belief. The other coaches are in belief. They can't believe where this guy's at. This guy didn't just go to the 30-yard line. He didn't just go to the 50-yard line. He got all the way down to the other end zone. He went 100 yards, twice as far as he thought possible. He didn't think he could do 50. He did 100. And when he finally collapsed, he collapsed in the end zone. And the coach told him, look where you're at. You're in the end zone. You're in the end zone. You thought you could only do 30. I told you could do 50. You did 100. We're talking about facing giants, facing our fears. We're stronger and more powerful than what we believe. We allow our fears to stop us. We allow our fears to keep us from even getting started. I don't care what your fears are. I don't care what your dreams are. If you have the dream, you can accomplish it. The fear is not really that you can accomplish it. That's not really your fear. That's not your fear at all. There's this lady that, man, I really admire, Marianne Williamson. Marianne Williamson. And I got her name and her quote that I'm about to read to you guys in the description, so you don't have to look anything up. I already have it. And I had the Kobe Bryant quote also. And the Kobe Bryant quote was, whether you win or fail, you're still going to be loved. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. Let me say again, you have nothing to lose, everything to gain. This lady, Marianne Williamson, she said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. We are liberated from our own fear. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. This is a part of the top I want to reiterate again. Our deepest fears. And if you, there's this movie, Coach Carter, and it's, I want to say Samuel Jackson. I think Samuel Jackson is in that movie. If I remember correctly, I haven't seen that movie in like freaking forever. But I think it's Samuel Jackson that's in that movie. And he's in Richmond, California. And at the time, Richmond, California was the murder capital of the country. You know what I mean? Richmond, California was the most off the hook, the most violent city in all of America. You know what I mean? In all of America. And so he's there as this coach. It's a true story. Coach Carter, look it up. He's there as his coach. And man, the basketball team is straight garbage, and just people getting killed, shot up, drugs, just the whole nine. You know what I mean? Just the whole nine. And he comes in and he makes these changes. And he forces these young men to start wearing ties and jackets on days that they play basketball. He gets in these guys' head and gets them to start believing that they could go to college, that they don't have to die on the streets. They don't have to end up in the penitentiary like all their family members. They don't have to die and get caught up in that violent stuff. And so he starts giving these young men hope. He starts giving them hope. He gives them a different perspective from what they were accustomed to. And the trip is, most of the family fought against him in the beginning. It was the parents who didn't like this. It was the parents who struggled with him doing all the stuff that he was doing. It was the parents that wanted him kicked off the team. And I share that to say this. It's always those close to us. It's always those that should reap the most from what we're trying to do that's going to fight us the most. They swear they're the most woke. They swear they're the most enlightened. But they have the most to gain. You're absolutely right, Bree. They could not see the vision. And that's why most people walk around in circles. That's why most people stay caught up in drama and stupid stuff, because they have no vision. Because they understand they're stuck in a rut. Their life can't get any better. And their life can't get any better because they're terrified of their fears. Their life can't get any better because they refuse to change their perspective. They refuse to grow up. And so they stay in that same dogmatic, hateful, toxic environment because they won't outgrow it. They won't outgrow it. In this movie, I believe it's Samuel Jackson, the coach, he asked the young men, what's your greatest fear? What's your greatest fear? And most guys, man, we won't tell people what our greatest fears are. Women, for the most part, man, they don't have a problem with getting on the phone and talking to their girlfriends and just chopping it up and whoop-de-whoop, and they just crying, drinking wine, whatever they do, and they have no problem sharing their feelings and their emotions. But for some reason, guys struggle with our emotions. We struggle dealing with our fears. We could be in a car with our woman and our kids in the back, lost and too afraid, too prideful to pull over somewhere and ask for help. Our woman know we lost, telling us to pull over. But because of our pride and our ego, our fear, we won't pull over and ask for help. So what is it about our fears that keeps us trapped? What is it about your fears that keep you living less than? What is it about your fears that keep you from chasing your full potential? What is it about your fears that's made you give up on your dreams? As childish fantasies, childish wishes. I'm living in a real world now, and so I gotta go to work and I gotta do this and No, you're fearful. Acknowledge that shit. You're scared as fuck. Own that. You can never fix it until you acknowledge it. You can never heal it and move beyond that until you're able to be honest with yourself and acknowledge your issues. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging the fact that you're scared. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. There's a book that I love that, man, everybody should read this book. You know what I mean? Everybody should read this book. It's a short book, short read, real short read, maybe 30 minutes max. You know what I mean? 30 minutes max to reading this book, real short book. But this book has been used in corporate America, all over corporate America, in management classes, in management courses. Simple book. Simple book. What's up, Loretta? Who Moved My Cheese? By Errol Spencer. Who Moved My Cheese? And the book is about two little rats and two little human beings, and they're in a maze. And they go to this little one spot, and there's some cheese there. And they get complacent there. They go there because there's so much cheese there. They go to that place every day and just eat their fill. And then they go right back home. Not even paying attention that over time, the cheese is dwindling. Not even mindful or cognizant of the fact that they're consuming all of the cheese. And now the cheese is getting a little old, a little stale, a little moldy. And they're okay with that because they're complacent. A couple of the other little creatures, the rats, they run off looking for more cheese. Some of them get lost. There's just two more, but they find their way eventually. And one of them goes all the way through the maze, and he finds little different spots of cheese. And he's writing notes because he's going back to get everybody else, to get the other people to go with him. Stay with me, I'm about to go somewhere. He's going back to get the other people. Man, get out of your comfort zone. Leave this little cheese area right here. The cheese is moldy. It's not good anymore. Why are you settling for this tainted cheese? Why are you settling for stale cheese? Man, where I'm at, there's fresh cheese. Where I'm at, there's new cheese. You just got to put back on your shoes and get back in the game. You just got to put back on your shoes and get back on the race. Get back on the journey. You've gotten complacent. You've gotten lazy. Own that shit. The other people, they didn't want to hear that. They weren't trying to hear all that stuff. And so as further he got up, he got tired of constantly coming all the way back to go to those people because they never left that area. They got entitled. They were pissed. We're talking about facing giants, facing fears. They were pissed. They were pissed because, man, who took their cheese? Why all of a sudden is their cheese gone? Who had the authority to take their cheese? Nobody ran that by these mice. Nobody got their permission to take the cheese. Who took their cheese? And so they're pissed. And so many of us in America, we have this mentality, this entitlement mentality where we're owed some shit. I was born, I'm here, you motherfuckers owe me some shit. We don't owe you a goddamn thing. We don't owe you anything. But because shit has been given to them for so long, and they never had to work for it, they never had to invest in it. They don't have any investment attached to it. They just got up and went ate and took their ass back to bed. What's up, Sean? Workout. So that brought about an entitlement mentality. That brought about a lazy mentality. They didn't have to go looking for anything. They didn't have to put any work in. So they gave up their dreams. They gave up all their goals, all of their plans. They lost their ambition. They lost the incentive to get up and go out and be great and enjoy the journey. And so the one rat, that mice that went all the way through, he was leaving notes along the walls so that if anybody else was coming through, he was telling them, hey, yeah, I came this way. Hey, yeah, just keep going. I'll leave a little crumbs for you, but keep going. He was encouraging them. He makes it all the way through. The second one makes it all the way through. And when they get to the end, man, so much cheese. They've never seen this much cheese before. This is cheese heaven for them. And so the moral of the story is, man, don't get complacent. I don't care how much you got. Don't get complacent. Don't get lackadaisical. Don't get lazy. If you got an entitlement mentality, you got to own that shit and let that go. Don't anybody owe you anything. Nobody's responsible to open up doors for you. Nobody's responsible to just bring you through and just make you a fucking manager or a business owner or whatever it is you want to do in life. Nobody owes you anything. You got to put the work in. You have to put the work in. Because the more work you put in, the more you appreciate it. See, so many of us, we don't appreciate the women and the guys we have in our life because we ain't really have to work for their ass. You met them, you saw them, they look good, you look good, y'all went home, fuck, suck, whatever y'all do, and that was it. It's like, oh, this is great. There's a movie that my queen is always teasing me about, Norbert. And so at the beginning of the movie, this big girl, Rasputin, she looks down at Norbert and he's getting bullied by these other kids. And she comes to his rescue and she beats the other guys up, right? And so she looks at Norbert. She asks him, do you have a girlfriend? And I can't even say it the way my queen says it, and Norbert's a nerd. And he was like, no. And she was like, well, you do now. You know what I mean? And that's what y'all do in relationships. That's what y'all do in relationships. Oh, the sex is great. We're a couple. We haven't invested anything into the relationship other than sex. That's all you got invested in that relationship is some good ass. And so when you lose it because you don't know how to act, when you lose it because you don't know how to talk to somebody respectfully, when you lose it because the other person sees that you're really lazy and you ain't got no ambitions and no drive, no incentive to get up off your ass other than sitting up, rolling a blunt and getting drunk and having sex, and that's all you good for. That's all you good for is a hit. This is a grown folk channel. We keep it real here. And it's stuff that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it is what it is. We have to understand that, man, we got to face our fears. We got to face these giants in our lives. And every one of us have these giants. Our giants may look totally different. Your giant may be the fact that you're overweight. Your giant may be the fact that, man, you come from a broken family and you were always beat down and always invalidated and all this other kind. Your giant may be from the fact that your family are successful. You wouldn't believe how many people that I've had to coach and mentor who came from successful families. And that blows me away because like, what the hell are you tripping on? Do you understand how many people wish they grew up in a family that came from this type of money? You come from this type of money, deep pockets, and you on some stupid shit? And the trip is, I had to learn. I had to learn. We all have giants. We all have fears. And so you wouldn't believe that a lot of these people that come from deep pockets, they have the same fears we have. And those fears are, man, Look how successful my daddy is. Look how successful my mama is. How do I compete with that? I'll never be able to fill my daddy's shoes. I'll never be able to fill my mama's shoes. Man, my daddy wrote all these books. My daddy's the top surgeon. My daddy's a great lawyer. My dad's this, my dad's LeBron James. My dad's Tiger Woods, or whoever. And so you got all these young people growing up, and they got giants in their life. They value their dad. They love their parents. But the trip is, how do they compete with that? How do they fill those shoes? How do they fill those shoes? They're not good enough. Man, I'm not athletic like my dad. I'm not smart like my dad to be a surgeon. I'm not great like my dad to build all these companies. I'm not great like my mom to do whatever it is that she's done. So money isn't going to stop you from having giants. Money isn't going to make your life easier in that regard. Especially when you have kids. Especially when you have kids. And so we have to understand that all of us have giants. And those giants are just different fears. Your giant is you want a doctorate degree. Your giant, you want to own your own successful business. Your giant is, man, you want to publish 7 books. Your giant, you want to produce movies. Your giant, you just want to go to school and be a nurse. Your giant, you want to be a scientist, an astronomer, an engineer, an astronaut, whatever it is you want to be. Don't allow your insecurities and your fears to stop you from even trying to get on that journey, from even stopping you from even getting on that path. And that's what this book was about. Who moved my cheese? These other mice, they wouldn't even go any further because they were so accustomed to what they had. They were so entitled and pissed off and angry at the world because life ain't the same no more. Life has changed. And so they became bitter. They became frustrated. And that's where many of us are at. We're bitter. We're angry. We're frustrated. We want more, but we don't know how to get more. We want more, but the truth be told, we're fucking lazy. We're lazy. We want more, but we're scared. We're scared. I'm comfortable right here. This isn't what I wanted, but I'm comfortable right here. What if I go beyond this and I crash and burn? What if I go beyond this and somebody takes my job? And that doesn't work out for me. Then I'm left empty-handed. I look like an idiot. I look like a fool. What are your giants? Man, start writing those down, family. Start writing those down. This giant. And don't try writing all of them down at one time. Work on them one at a time. One at a time. Man, I'm scared of success. I'm scared of failure. I'm scared of speaking in public. I'm scared of whatever it is that you're scared of. I'm scared of starting my YouTube page. What if nobody follows me? What if nobody subscribes to me? What if this? What if nobody watches my stuff? And all this, what if people are mean to me? What if people tell me I'm stupid? What if people tell me that, man, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about? What if? What if? That's a fear. That's a fear. Don't allow that to stop you. Don't allow that to keep you living beneath your means. Don't allow that to stop you from pursuing your joy. I'm going to read this quote again from Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about sinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Man, family, my hope and prayer is that you stop being scared. You stop being scared. Write your fear down. And then start sitting there and start psychoanalyzing, start understanding why you have this fear. What is it that makes you have this particular fear? And once you understand that, release it. Release it. How do you release it? Man, write it down. Man, my fear, for me, I had a fear of heights for a long time. And so, man, I went through a whole bunch of stuff to overcome that fear of heights. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff. One of the last things I did in California before I left was to go skydiving. I knew I was over my fear of heights, but that was my way of showing the world I'd released it. I'm good. And so what do you do with your fears? Or what do you do with this in order for you to release it? Man, write it down on a piece of paper, whatever that fear is. Do one at a time. This fear is whatever it is. Why you have these fears. And after you write why you have these fears, meditate on it for a little bit. You can meditate before you even write down why you believe you have these fears. And then write it down. Whatever comes to you. Man, I have these fears because of this, because of this, because of this, because of this. Then you go through the process of releasing it. And what I mean by releasing it, in order to understand, everything is energy. Everything is energy. That fear is just an energy. And as long as you're vibrating on that frequency of fear, you cannot reach your full potential, because fear is the lowest vibration of energy there is. Fear. So you got to let that go in order to reach your dreams. So write it all down and then replace that fear with something positive. Replace that fear, whatever your fears. Replace it with the opposite. Replace it with love. Replace that fear with joy, with acceptance, with compassion, with kindness, or whatever it is that you need to replace that fear with. And then burn that paper. Tear it up, flush it down the toilet. You have to watch it go away, disappear. And as you're watching it burn up, as you're watching it flush down the toilet, man, I'm releasing that negative energy out of me. And I'm filling that space, because you have to fill that space. That's crucial. And you have to fill that space with something positive, something constructive. And so as you flush the paper, as you burn it and you watching it burn, man, I'm releasing this fear of talking to others. I'm releasing this fear of starting back to school. I'm releasing this fear of starting this business. I'm releasing this fear of starting this book. I'm releasing this fear of whatever it is that you're supposed. Had a call coming in. Whatever that fear is, release it. Burn it. Flush it. But fill that space, that energy with love, with light, with healing, with compassion. Man, I love you guys. I love you guys. Your fears were never meant to enslave you. They were only there to challenge you to go beyond them, to challenge you. How bad do you want it? Most of us say we want this, we want success, we want but then we face this fear. It's like, nah, it's not that important. Fuck it, I quit, I give up. You know what I mean? It's all right, I don't need it. It's just a wish, I don't really want that no more. You do. The truth is you're scared. You ran into fear, and fear kicked your ass. Fear punked you. It is what it is. Own that. You got punked by fear. And that's okay. We all do. But at some point, you have to face your giants. At some point, you have to face your fears and overcome them. I love you guys. Happy healing. Peace.